Joshua Smith here, and welcome to the GSD Mode Podcast. Now get shit done and smash that subscribe button now. What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode Podcast interview, where every single week I interview top real estate professionals, top entrepreneurs, and straight up top badasses that are dominating their space. These are people choosing to not live a life of mediocrity, but instead to go out and create big, amazing, epic lives for themselves, for their families, as well as have a big impact on others. And today, guys, got another epic rock star guest here on the show. Our guest today is Mr. Jake Wolfe. So Jake had an amazing career in the United States Air Force, then transitioned into the corporate world, becoming a marketing expert at a consulting firm, then over the years became an entrepreneur, and today his journey has led him to owning and being the co-owner of KlevrLeads, which is a real estate specific piece of software that's doing some revolutionary stuff when it comes to lead generation and helping real estate agents just go out there and crush it and growing their business. All right, real quick, before we jump into today's podcast interview, if you haven't already, make sure that you snag my free copy of my new book, Dominate Your Real Estate Business Top Tips from a Top Producer. It's 100% free. It's a 100% free digital download. There's no charge. There's nothing being sold. This book is just filled with top tips, strategies, and methods that have allowed me to grow my real estate business and become one of the top realtors and team leaders on the planet. You can snag your copy right now at joshuasmithfreebook.com. Again, joshuasmithfreebook.com. Make sure to go snag your copy. All right, let's jump on into this amazing podcast interview with Jake Wolfe. Jake, my man, welcome to the GSD Mode Podcast, my friend.
Pleasure to go ahead and be here. Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, man, I'm stoked and honored to have you on. You know, I had a good buddy of mine on the podcast a few weeks ago, Greg McDaniel, and he was talking about all the different things that he's up to today and, you know, some different concepts and digital online marketing approaches that are different, that are crushing it for him. And you know, starts telling me about your guys' software that he's doing to go out there and create this success, which I know we'll get into. Yeah. But man, I'm just so excited to have you on. I know that you've had such a successful, as well, you know, diverse entrepreneur career that led you up to where you're at today. And before we get into all the amazing stuff that you're up to today, man, I'm always intrigued in our guests' journeys that led them here in the first place. If we wind the clocks, I mean, how did this entrepreneurship journey start for you?
Yeah. So first of all, what I like to do every single day is go ahead and wake up and give the day to the Lord, first and foremost. So our lives are not infinite. We don't know when our last days are going to be. So that really kind of drives my whole day completely. So I know a lot of folks inside your listener base come for education, knowledge, various different things so that they can go ahead and make themselves better. But I'm a combat veteran. I went ahead and joined the United States Air Force when I was 18 years old, and this was before 9/11. Had a very successful military career. I was the dorm chief in basic training. Ended up leading 102 of my men into honor flight status, which was the top honors across the whole basic training group, and then ended up jumping into tech school. And in tech school, what they end up doing in the military was if you are a student leader, you end up having a rank basically with a rope color. So the green rope would have been kind of the lower status or entry level student leaders. Yellow rope would have been kind of the middle, and then red ropes were overseeing all of the student leadership. So I ended up finding myself in a position very shortly after basic training to where I became a red rope, and I was what they call the day shift red rope. So I had 3,600 military students that were going through tech school at the time, and I had over 128 student leaders that I ended up having to go ahead and give leadership to and organize the business of tech school. So for me, before I even got into the Air Force, I had a very good upbringing. I had a lot of my family members were very influential in different ways, and were very involved with the family. Plus, all the years that I was a wrestler and football, you know, I give a lot to the coaches, and I give a lot to all of the mentors and everything else as a young man, even transitioning into the military. So, but while I was in the service and while I was at tech school specifically, when you talk about managing 3,600 people and then the organization of all of the student body, we would literally have to go ahead and meet in our own large conference room. I had an office, and I would have to go ahead and give direction and authority down from my military leaders above me down to all of the student leaders, that then they would go out to all of the rest of the folks and, make sure that the rules and regulations of what we were abiding by in the United States military was being followed. So it gave me a really good foundation at a young age to go ahead and really kind of see organizational structure, roles and responsibilities, following deadlines, taking nonstop actionable steps. It was just unquestionable. We wake up every single day. This is what you do. You move forward, and it is what it is. So anyways, fast forward, ended up having a very successful military career. Absolutely loved the United States Air Force. I was in before 9/11, ended up marrying my beautiful bride that I'm still with today. And she was also in the United States Air Force. We decided to go ahead and start a family. She was 7 months pregnant during 9/11. So 9/11 hit, and then the world got very busy for me. So found myself over in Afghanistan. So you end up transitioning from a peacetime military into a wartime military. And now we're actually executing the business of the United States of America. I'm standing in Afghanistan early on after 9/11. And the whole demeanor changed, right? All of the men started learning really real time and understanding what was going on. But one thing that was really powerful that drove into me during the middle of my first tour in Afghanistan was, and our lives are not infinite. We don't know when our last day is going to be. So reality hit, sunk in hard. So why not just go ahead and wake up and grind every single day? I'm here for a purpose. I raised my right hand to go and defend my country. And I'm here with my brothers, and I'm going to go ahead and focus on everything that I'm going to do. And I'm just going to be the best damn me I could possibly be. So I love your podcast, right? I watch some of your programs, and I love the whole get shit done, but it's not a belief for me. It's just what we do, right? So there is a constant war in life. Life is war. And it's between those who want it and those who want it more. So when we talk about this on the business level, we talk about lack of action. When we talk about fear of actually stumbling and failing, or fear of actually having somebody reject you on a phone call, reject you in business, move on, keep going, always moving forward, always charging hard. So, yeah, so that's a little bit about the foundation of me. So, yeah, it's always tough to go ahead and talk a little bit about yourself, so.
Yeah.
And then those were many years ago. I'm kind of looking back a little bit.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. Such powerful stuff, dude. And I mean, at what point, because obviously you at some point transition from, being in the military and being, in leadership position, as you mentioned, into the business world.
Yeah. So here, I know exactly where you're going with this. So it was a very tough decision for me to go ahead and transition out of the United States Air Force. I was the recipient of the United States Air Force Leadership Award. I was step promoted by 3-star general of the 12th Air Force. So I was ranking up fast. I was really pouring myself, heart and soul, into everything that I did and all of my education and studies, and then turning around and helping all of the new folks that were coming into the Air Force and really helping them transition from the basic training and tech school side into the real side of the house. So it was a very tough decision for me, but as most of you can possibly think, I was in the service for a couple of years prior to 9/11, and then 9/11 hit. And then all of a sudden we're in Afghanistan, and we're in Iraq, and we still have all of the other places in the world that we're still executing, our business to. And I ended up having 2 children by the time that I ended up hitting that 6-year mark. And I looked at my bride, who was also in the military, then ended up making a tough decision for herself, because if you think about it, the military throughout all the years has been a man's world. But I give extreme amount of respect to all of the women that come into that place that once was dominated by a man, and I absolutely love it. So I love the equality of gender, and I love that all of us as Americans go out and charge hard and grind forward. So, but if you think about it from a woman's perspective, and I speak with my wife about it, it was very tough for her to go ahead and say, oh my goodness, I'm going into a male dominated world. So when she ended up getting out of the service and we had to make that tough decision, I didn't see an end in sight. So I was going to consistently be Afghanistan, Iraq. So some of my friends are retiring right now. Some of my buddies from basic training, they're in their higher tenure. One of my good friends is a Command Chief Master Sergeant who has been overseas like 16 times. So that would have been it. So I had to make a conscious decision on be a father and a husband or continue to go ahead and do this moving forward. So I ended up making the hard decision to go ahead and get out of the service. So now here I am as a civilian. So now all of the things that I knew from the time that I ended up entering the United States military at 18 years old and then to now, it's like, what in the world am I going to do? So, so you end up taking a look at all things around you. And I ended up kind of getting into marketing. I moved and stumbled into some different part-time jobs, and I experimented with some different things, but my heart and passion was always marketing. I had a good friend that was in the marketing world, and I really loved the whole business of marketing. It's about how a business can go ahead and better expose their products or services to the marketplace. And for me, being in a position to where I could help other folks, it was of being of service. So I had no formal education at all whatsoever in marketing. Some of my family members were in business, and I had a good upbringing, and I had some really good mentors. Those people that all of a sudden you meet in your life that change your trajectory from a business standpoint. But so there wasn't going to be time for me to go ahead and go to a formal college to go ahead and start understanding the core elements of this. So I did what you hear a lot of these successful entrepreneurs do is I grabbed every book that I possibly could. And thank God that Google was coming around, in the mid 2000s, because now, I've got a child that's in college right now, actually in a business school at the University of Nevada. I've got a sophomore in high school, and I'm the father now going, man, if I was your age and I had Google sitting in front of me, do you understand the amount of things that I could possibly do here? So, but I live what I preach, right? And it's even transferable into the real estate industry. So, and it's why people go ahead and actually fire up YouTube and watch the GSD podcast and like Real Estate Uncensored with Greg McDaniel and his boys. And because now information is so readily available, right? So, but no, I got into marketing and I just completely engrossed myself with it. So before the show, you and I were talking a little bit about some of my journey jumping in there. So when I was the director of operations for this marketing house, I wasn't in real estate, doing real estate or anything else like that. I was in marketing. So you can only imagine that every single person that goes in and walks through the door, picks up the phone, has some type of problem. They need a better way to expose their product or services to the marketplace. Their competitors are kicking their rear end. They're losing revenue. They don't have a clearly defined unique selling proposition at all whatsoever. So there's all of these different dynamics of a need from that business in order to better expose their company and gain more revenue. So I constantly found myself looking at various different industries just because different customers are coming to us, from dentists to, people who are online retailers to you name it. So I found myself kind of being that Dr. Phil a little bit of marketing, which was a blessing for me because I was forced to deep dive into each one of those industries and understand how and why the world ticks the way that it does and what their competition is doing. And then from a technology standpoint, what is marketing? Marketing is truly the vehicle that we utilize to go and expose our brand and product to our consumers. So we need to go ahead and find a way to do it more effectively, put our message directly on target in front of our prospective customers, those people who might have most intent at that time. And, through those mid 2000 years, this was before Mark Zuckerberg started coming out and manhandling the world with Facebook and giving people, young entrepreneurs, people getting into the game, the opportunity to go ahead and target people interest-based wise and do some disruptive advertising on his social platform. So back then we were talking golden triangle, top 3 positions in Google, because you Google some stuff, nobody's eyes goes below that golden triangle. I mean, the actual fall off of percentage of click-throughs below 3 or 4. So that was the game, right? And it was paid PPC. And back then, like Gary Vee was hustling heavy with, his wine business and buying cheap PPC placements and putting his message in front of thousands of people, but the competition didn't know about it, right? So, so I've came through the whole zone of working in the marketing industry, and then doing a lot of business consulting and things along those lines with some large industries, oil and gas industries, things along those lines. So I jump in and consult with various different groups, and personally hired over 500 people for different businesses since about 2012. Really kind of put in a lot of protocols and systems and managed different businesses. So I'm the guy on the field that's pulling triggers and throwing footballs. So, and that's another thing that I told you, right? So I'm a constant action, and everybody that's inside my sphere of influence, they'll hear probably charge hard out of my mouth at least 5 times a day, to the point where they're probably going to bed at night thinking, oh my goodness, Jake Wolfe just said charge hard again. In my mind, I can't go to sleep. So, but we don't stop taking executionable, actionable steps forward in life. Anybody that's around me in my circle. So Mrs. Wolfe even preaches that to the children. So it's about charging hard forward, always living every single damn day of your life and minute of your life with purpose. So I know a lot of people, when we're talking about just living life, right? You and I have all had those moments that have totally derailed us. So it's about what you do in those moments that make the biggest difference. Are you going to pick yourself up and start living your life and moving forward and charging hard as fast as possible and being the best you can absolutely be today, because every single person that depends on you is expecting that of you. And then a little bit more about me from a core standpoint. At the end of the day, I always debrief with myself. And it might be something that you guys would like to possibly think about, but I look myself in the eyes every single night in the mirror, and I have a conversation with Jake Wolfe. Because you can't lie to yourself at all whatsoever. You can go ahead and sit there and ask yourself some probing questions like, was I the best me I could be today? Did I do everything in my power to be executionable for my customers, for the people that are depending on me? Am I set up for tomorrow? Do I have my shit together? So, it comes back to my youth, right? On the football field and on the wrestling mat. And then most definitely coming through the United States military. But
love it, man. Powerful stuff, dude. So I'm curious you talked about being kind of the Dr. Phil of marketing. You had all these different industries and companies coming to you and to improve their marketing for whatever reason. And I'm curious because I'm sure that there are commonalities when it comes to marketing. I mean, each industry, product might be different. Their avatar might be different. But what are some of the things dealing with all these companies where you connect the dots? What are the correlations that you've seen that isn't, across all industries, if you will, of like, hey man, these 3 or 4 things, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, like these you need to make sure that you nail to be successful with your marketing.
Yeah. So this is why I built KlevrLeads. So I had a couple of real estate agent clients that walked through one of my marketing houses. Sat down and kind of consulted with them. They were going through the same kind of thing of, what can you guys do for me to go ahead and get more customers? So, sit down. Let's talk about the foundational cornerstones of your business first. So we started going through and really deep diving into some real estate agent businesses. And I was kind of semi-curious because I never really played in that world before. And I never really kind of looked at the whole prop tech space, right? A lot of these different softwares that are out there. I knew it was saturated because you constantly hear about it. And I knew that they were providing different platforms and vehicles to go ahead and be effective in some regard and using different things like Facebook marketing and stuff. But commonality between all different businesses that I've ever seen in my whole entire life, and it really comes down to the damn basics. You need to understand who your prospective customer is. And then you need a vehicle in order to communicate directly to your prospective customer so that now you can gain attention. And then once you have their attention, you need to clearly communicate who you are and what your unique selling proposition is and why you are better than the competition, period. So if a business, any business, they need to go ahead and look inside their house first and clean up. They need to say, all right, what do I do better? Who am I? What kind of service do I offer? What kind of products do I offer? What is my return policy? What are my core pillars of who I am? What is my foundation of my company? Because here's the deal. If you own a retail shop and somebody walks through the door and they have a bad experience, you're not doing something right. Maybe it's a one-off experience. Maybe there's a human element there that person was not satisfied, just because sometimes you can't satisfy everybody in the world. However, if all of a sudden it becomes a theme, then you need to look and clean up your house. So after you go ahead and get your core business together, literally, it's about then communicating that uniqueness, that perfection, that brilliance, that personal brilliance in your business to your consumer. So gaining attention and rapport, and then consistently staying in touch with them. So there's a lot of vehicles that have been out there. The stuff that was relevant last year is not as much relevant this year. So the technology is moving so fast that we literally, if you're not like my team and I, staying consistently on the leading edge of all of the things that are being developed and created in order to go ahead and be more impactful than our competitors, then you're going to go ahead and fall to the wayside a little bit. So we created KlevrLeads as a way to go ahead and communicate direct to consumer, utilizing some core platforms that you just can't get away from. Text, right? We all receive texts individually, or we built a system to where we can go ahead and communicate in a larger fashion, multiplier efforts, send out the same messages to identifiable audiences, right? Then once we gain attention from text and start having communications with different people, our intention is to kindly and politely introduce ourselves, let them know why we're reaching out. And then if there's no immediate intent, then what we do is we try to gain permission and rapport to stay in contact with them. And in that moment, we go ahead and identify our unique selling proposition. So KlevrLeads is a very powerful platform, just from a core communication standpoint. I can bulk email, I can bulk text. The way that some of these other CRMs and everything else have been set up throughout the years, which is great, they might have a landing page or something like that. And if somebody converts through that landing page, now your system might start communicating with them naturally to nurture until somebody contacts back, right? But we take the same principle on the front end, and this is kind of what like Greg was talking about. We'll pull in identifiable audiences into KlevrLeads, right? So I tell all my Clever agents, go out and get all the expireds that you can, all of the FSBOs, all the front buy owners, anybody that is in an identifiable group. We go ahead and build some really nice messages that would be automated. So I can go ahead and build out a text template. 1 minute later, send a follow-up text. 2 days later, if they haven't already responded, I can go ahead and send a follow-up saying, hey, I sent you a couple text messages the other day. I wanted to see if you received them or not. Have a blessed and safe day. And so what we do then is once we have our communication pre-assembled, we just associate that communication to a group of, let's say, 100 people. Click the button, send out. So it's about a vehicle in order to communicate the perfect message to an identifiable audience so that we can go ahead and start communication, gain rapport, identify intent. And then once we do gain rapport, we ask permission to stay in contact with these folks. We immediately slide them into a permission given nurture list. And then week over week, the old school days of sending out, and I know Ricky Caruth loves this, right? He loves like the weekly email that goes out to everybody, like your databases, everything. So what we do is we take everybody on our list, we associate them to an email blast, and we rip that email blast out, but we have customizable landing pages built inside of KlevrLeads. So you 100% customizable with your video capability. So you can go ahead and shoot a 2-3 minute video. Hey, this is Jake Wolf with eXp Realty here in Reno, Nevada. Just wanted to touch base with you guys. I've got some hyper-local information that just went ahead and happened here. Figured I'd let everybody know. Or interest rates are at their all-time low. You guys might want to think about refinancing, or whatever your message is. But I drive all of the Clever agents to go ahead and create 4 videos a month, hyper-local information that's relevant to their local community, knowledge given and shared. What we do is we then embed that video onto these landing pages. Every time a real estate agent creates a landing page inside of KlevrLeads, brings up a unique URL link specific to that page and inside your KlevrLeads account. So we go ahead and blast that link via email to everybody inside of our permission given list, because video is powerful right now. People are addicted to video. People are actually searching YouTube the same way that they used to go ahead and Google stuff, right? So, and they're looking for the most relevant video because they just would rather watch instead of read. So we use this to our advantage, because now the other cool thing is, yeah, you know what? Some people might go ahead and read an email. A lot of people fail with email. They don't know how to go ahead and actually communicate on it, right? They're giving away their like 7 steps of the chess game inside of an email. So they're going through like this whole sales and funnel and trying to go ahead and get some type of call to action. We are just sending a nice email, real quick, real short, condensed, watch this video, here's topic, send. Now your video literally is sitting in front of all of your permission given list every single week, week over week over week. So our intention is to go ahead and gain as much rapport with our community and go ahead and increase that. So the other thing that we've done with KlevrLeads, and it's extremely powerful, is that, well, let me rewind a little bit. So I think everybody remembers when Mark Zuckerberg was getting interrogated on the House and Senate floor, right? And some of you guys know what tracking pixels are, and some of you guys don't know. If you have a Facebook Business Manager account, they allow for you to go ahead and download a pixel, which you embed into some of your landing pages, websites, some of your advertisements. And then that way you can go ahead and do some retargeting, things like that. However, people were really making a lot of money with Facebook early on, before a lot of the privacy stuff and Cambridge Analytica and all the scrutinization on the House and Senate floor. And in that moment, I'm literally watching targeting options drop off the back of Facebook.
Yep. Especially in the state.
Yep. So then fast forward a little bit past that initial hearing, and you have Ben Carson's that went in and came in with HUD, and he started to go ahead and scrutinize Facebook because of discrimination purposes, because their claim was that real estate agents through Facebook were not targeting Section 8 and HUD type neighborhoods. So, of course, and that's a debatable thing. However, so the zip code targeting started to go ahead and have an issue to where you couldn't really impact some interest-based targeting, things along those lines. So when we first started building KlevrLeads a couple years ago behind the scenes, I literally went in and locked our whole team in the boardroom, and I said, all right, we're going to build a vehicle from a core business standpoint that makes sense. And I want to go ahead and assemble a way for people to go ahead and communicate out, really work a strong database, and be consistent, and then beat every other competitor in the local area. So, but we knew that Facebook was going under scrutiny. We were going to utilize Facebook in a different fashion than we do now. However, we've figured out the perfect way to go ahead and use Facebook with KlevrLeads. But the other thing that we stepped up to was, I knew that there was geofencing out there, and I know a lot of people don't understand what geofencing is, but it's been around for a decade or so. You guys might have recently heard about maybe some police, FBI type groups trying to use geofencing, where smart devices might have went into a certain geofence during a crime or things along those lines. That's how I think a lot of people are starting to hear about it. But how we use it is this. Well, first of all, nobody's had the opportunity really yet to go ahead and bring this out to the real estate industry. And if they are, they haven't perfected the systems, the business systems, to go ahead and receive and use it properly like we do in KlevrLeads. So when we're talking about a core farm standpoint, and I've got 3 different farming strategies that work phenomenal for real estate agents. So you could choose a group of 500 homes inside your local area. This is your farm. And you've taken a look at this farm, and I always push all of the agents. I say, hey, you know what, go back 36 months. Take a look at that group of homes that you just went ahead and chose. Identify how many sides have sold over the last 36 months. And then let's kind of take a look at your competition. Who is competing with you inside of that farm territory? So once we go ahead and get a really good business analysis of what would be a quality farm, then I take all of their addresses and I load them up into my network. So at that point, I go ahead and build out really nice display advertisements that talk about you and your brand, nice pictures of you. We've got some really cool, unique strategies that really gain attention. But then those landing pages that you can build inside of KlevrLeads with that unique URL, we embed that into the display ad. So then what do? So I tell all my agents, we're not going to spend anything less than like $1.50 a door, and we don't need to go more than $2 a door inside of your farm. So when you're first starting out, you might have a minimal budget for utilizing geofencing. We can go ahead and scale up into it, because what we want to do is gain business so that all of your marketing initiatives and your spend is self-liquidating. In addition, we want you to grow your marketing spend, because that way we can expand your territory and gain more dominance over your marketplace. So what we'll do from a geofencing standpoint is at that point, we literally can go ahead and match all of the addresses to a parcel. And then we literally start serving the parcel and all of the smart devices underneath every single roof, to the tune of every single smart device is going to get an impression of you at a minimum of 4 times a day, every single day, day over day. So we're serving hundreds of thousands of impressions into every single smart device underneath the roof inside of your farm territory, while all of your competition is literally saying, send them a postcard once every 3 months. Not us. We literally are sending hundreds of thousands of impressions to their smart devices. And the system that we have is so smart that we're purchasing advertisement on most frequented places that that smart device has went. So the old school days of banner type display ads, perfect example. Let's go to ESPN. Let's say you run a basketball business. Now, you want to go ahead and buy banner placement on ESPN to sell your basketballs. You're trying to get out in front of sports enthusiasts. But I might go to ESPN because I'm a football guy. So the basketball is irrelevant, right? So that was trying to get out in front of interest-based targeting. Now, what we do, we have the way to go ahead and directly serve that audience. So I have agents that go ahead and pull down an expired list. We rip out to the expireds. People literally will put together messages that say, your home went and got expired. It's probably not your fault. And everybody that's sitting, oh my God, it's not my fault. My home just didn't go expired. Click. Now all of a sudden they're on your landing page where you just went in and put together a really nice 3 to 5 minute video. And you said, hey, my name is Jake Wolf with eXp Realty. I specialize in expireds. And I just want to let you know it's not your fault. And here are some common things that we can go ahead and check off the box. You know what I mean? So let's take a look at this and this and this and this and this. And if you're interested in consulting with me on maybe identifying some of these pain points that your home went expired with, I'd love to talk with you. I'm here to help in all things real estate. So there's different things that we can do with different identifiable audiences. The other cool thing is, and this network was set up for the big boys. I'm talking Ford, GMC, Chevy, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, all the big boys. So when somebody goes to a Ford dealership and their core franchise sets up geofencing because they're spending $150,000 plus a month on the network, which is almost minimums. If somebody walks into a Ford dealership inside your town, you might start getting Chevy advertisements. Hey, don't buy from Ford. Come on over here. We have 0% financing. No low APRs. We'll get you into a truck right now. Hell, I'll bring the keys to the Ford dealership and you can have this damn truck. You know what I mean? So the big boys have been doing it, competing with each other, utilizing tracking services. So they'll squat on people's websites. They'll analyze their competition, things along those lines. So that's what we're going to be doing over here at KlevrLeads, right? So I have the ability to go ahead and almost instantly purchase real time if somebody searches for something that's relevant to my real estate agents at KlevrLeads, searches for your competitor, searches for Zillow, searches for Realtor.com, various different things inside of your zip code, your DMA, your state. So if I'm able to go ahead and identify unique devices that have searched or went to your competitors' websites or Zillow or some of these other different places, and now all of a sudden I've got their unique ID, my system automatically, as I have already built the traps, we're immediately sending advertisements to their smartphones. And then I can set not only recency of when they actually search, so I can go from instant to the last 30 days that they've actually came through some of those interest-based searches, but then I can also set the frequency at which, how many times I'm going to continually serve those smart devices. Now, the other cool thing, and this is where we come in, so we use geofencing this is our big cannon. It really is. So, and we've perfected the systems with our intelligence team to really go ahead and analyze the most perfect way to go ahead and get exposure for every single one of our Clever agents. Now, here's where we bring Facebook into it. Literally, I go ahead and load up Facebook pixels on every single one of our landing pages inside of KlevrLeads. So you can build as many as you want based upon this, maybe a buyer side message, seller side message, FSBO message, expired message, whatever your identifiable audience is from a core standpoint, and even all of your pages that you send out to your permission given nurturing list, those all have pixels on them. So when we're actually targeting different audiences that have taken a intent move, such as, we all know that Zillow went ahead and disrupted the industry. They came in and gave the customers a really good way to go ahead and search. Back in the day, there was IDX websites that real estate agents could go ahead and build, and people are still building them, and most real estate agents think of it as candy. But 90% of the people that are actually searching for homes are doing it on Zillow and Realtor.com. So what we end up doing is we know that the traffic that's hanging out at these different places have intent. So it's not like that example I gave you with a banner advertisement on ESPN, where we're trying to get out in front of enthusiasts of sports. We literally know that these people are trying to identify something real estate wise. They're looking at homes that are competing with them for the sale. They're looking at homes to go ahead and possibly purchase, right? And then, a lot of times my clever agents tell me, they're like, Jake, you're absolutely right, because I end up getting an initial phone call from some of our marketing, and these people will say, hey, we're just searching around on Zillow for the last 2 weeks, and this home at this address is something that we really like. Can you help us now find some additional homes that are like that and then show us? You know what I mean? So the consumer is actually taking steps forward, and they're being independent. And Zillow has went ahead and done a really good job with creating that user experience. However, with knowing that, we know that traffic is going into those directions. We, through our intelligence networks and our display advertisements and our geofencing, have a way to go ahead and influence people who are going to different places, searching for different things, searching for your competitor, live in a certain area. I can also go ahead and target all single family homes inside your city that have a renter underneath the roof. I can go ahead and target all single family homes inside of your city that have the primary owner of multiple homes. So we can also go ahead and geofence condominiums, apartment complexes. I've got one agent that's setting up a geofence. He does a lot of residential leasing in downtown Chicago. And there's a heavy turnover after a 12-month lease. So literally we're laying geofences around apartment complexes that are sky rises in downtown Chicago that have 500 apartments inside of them. We're sucking up all the unique device IDs, serving them advertisements. But this is where it really comes into a cool play, is we know that we're driving traffic directly onto our landing pages. So Greg McDaniel gave you an example the other day, and he ended up pulling down some information from Likely AI, which is an absolutely brilliant company. We have an integration with Likely, really good friends with Greg's brother, Brad. Those guys have done a phenomenal job really building out some extreme pre-market intelligence with their AI, and it's patented. And we've been working with them since middle of last year. So I really got to see the journey. My clever agents are doing a fantastic job with his AI data. But what we do is, so Greg's example was he pulled in a list of 1,400 or so homes. And then we literally went ahead and geofenced every single one of those homes. And we drove over 800 of those homeowners directly to his landing page. Now, once they're on the landing page, they just got pixeled. So retargeting in Facebook is the name to the game. People that do real business, and I'm talking about business owners who do business, not individuals just advertising. They know that it's more expensive to initially advertise on Facebook, and then their retargeting is half as expensive, half the cost. So, but what we do is we know that we can now go and identify audiences, drive them to our landing pages, and then they get wrapped up into our pixel. So then we end up setting $10, $15 a day budget ads for retargeting to everybody that's dropping through our pixels on places like social. And then we're not even pitchy over there. So I'm literally guiding and leading all my agents to go ahead and be like, you know what, let's use Facebook in the same way that we actually would go ahead and talk to our audience once a week on a permission given list. We know they're local people, so let's just continue to give local information. It's all about becoming the knowledge broker and the ambassador inside of your industry in the local area. So I don't let, now we're just coming out with KlevrLeads. We went through 2 years long into beta, working behind the scenes, literally launching now. And the Facebook group, I created a private Facebook group for KlevrLeads. So my partner Joe and I will be literally sharing all of this business knowledge and aptitude consistently and continually to our private community. So our intention is to go ahead and make our Clever Agent team the most powerful, dominant business folks in the real estate world across the nation as we start moving forward. So however that grows, we're going to be going really bringing these kind of knowledge bombs and processes and systems. So what we will be doing is together as a community, as a tribe, taking actionable steps forward. So you'll see a lot of me in there saying, guys, this message works really good. Tee it up to this audience, click the button, start talking, let me know if you need it. And we also went in and built a social media side of the company. So social media is important. Some people, a small amount of people do it really well. Most of us are sloppy when it comes to our social ground game, but it's important. Now, what we ended up doing was I ended up bringing in a very powerhouse social media manager, part of KlevrLeads. And his name is Gene, and he's really guiding the whole corporate strategy for all of the social media side of the house. And what we have put together, and it's taken some time, but we pushed ourselves to go ahead and identify the most relevant ways to go ahead and socially manage your ground game in real estate. We bottled it all up, created a process and a system to where we would go ahead and manage your ground game so that you don't have to, because it really is time consuming. So there's different add-ons that you can go ahead and bring in to KlevrLeads. So you can employ our social media managed side where we're literally posting every single day relevant quality information that's coming from headquarters on, hey, send this message out, works really well. This is very potent information that a lot of people should go ahead and know about. And since we're never going to let any Clever Agents compete with another Clever Agent because of how we analyze our competition in business, how we control our space, a lot of that information is transferable into these different segmentations, geolocations all across the US. So as the Clever Agent community grows, and as somebody goes in and comes in, as long as they're continually working with KlevrLeads, they'll go ahead and control their territory, and I won't let anybody compete with them at all whatsoever, because we'll be competing against all their competition to go ahead and make them dominant in their marketplace.
Yeah. I love it, man. And I've got several follow-up questions for you, both about KlevrLeads and some other stuff as well. But before I do that, because I know that there's going to be a lot of interest by just you sharing with us, you know, all the amazing features that KlevrLeads does. And I know that this is kind of your first podcast of releasing it to the general public. Everything's been a beta. So definitely honored to be that platform for that. But I know Clever is spelled a little different than the regular Clever. So if somebody is interested,
so you're saying Clever is spelled cleverly?
Yeah,
KLEVR leads, KlevrLeads.
Okay, perfect, man.
Yep.
Yeah, and I love the unique URL for those messages, because like you mentioned with retargeting with Facebook, I mean, most websites, it's a generic page view pixel, let's just say.
Correct.
So you don't necessarily know when you're retargeting if it was a buyer, if it was a seller, if it was an expired seller, if it was a FSBO, you know, right? You're kind of retargeting with more generic messages.
Well, you're doing it because you retargeted me. I was actually on your website the other day. Next thing you know, I started getting some of your retargeting advertising.
Yeah. You know, and I'm speaking, you know, that's a different business than my real estate sales business, which can be a little bit more challenging. Well, not always, but because of that unique URL that you guys deliver for that message, those retargeting campaigns, it could be specific to just an expired, or like we do a lot of rent to purchases, you know, right in my market. So, you know, we can make sure that retargeting is specific to whatever that initial message is, you know, right? Making sure that we're putting people in the right box with the retargeting.
Correct.
Yeah, no, I love that, man. I love it. You know, one follow-up question I have for you, because it sounds like KlevrLeads is the vehicle to help you go out there and deliver your marketing message, you know, right? And
correct.
You know, but you talked before that about, you know, the kind of fundamental, foundational, important things of marketing. And one of those things that you said is, you know, being very clear on what separates you, what makes you different, what your unique proposition is. And a lot of realtors have a difficult time with this, because they're like, man, I help buyers buy homes, I help sellers sell homes. What are different ways that real estate agents can differentiate themselves when the general public a lot of them just see us as the same.
Yeah, understandable. Well, you have to find out what your niche is inside. So when you're talking about niching your business, it's about identifying who you are and what you specialize in. So if you're a single agent right now, what would be your focus? And then move in on that. And then identify different ways that you cater to your customers more than what your competitors do. Create that unique selling proposition. I see agents that start as a single agent. They try to get their feet wet, try to understand what's going on. And then all of a sudden a lot of work comes, a lot of core competency that they have to handle. Their marketing game drops like crazy. So it's in a fluctuation. But I would say if you're a single agent, identify a niche, specialize in it to the best of your ability. If you don't know enough about it, go find the knowledge and learn more about it now, or add somebody else to your team that is beast mode, VIP, or work with somebody that's at your brokerage that might have that knowledge, so that if for whatever reason you find yourself in a position where you don't know, you can go ahead and rely on your team, your backup, things like that. But I do see agents that start as a single, start adding to their team. So now that if they're more seller side centric, they go ahead and move to buyer side centric. But it's something that you're going to have to ask yourself. So what makes you better than the other real estate agents in your local area? And if you find yourself honestly answering that you're down here at this level and you've got some other competitors and players at this level, it's time to go hit the gym. Time to go start working out. Gain and obtain the knowledge, and do not be scared at all whatsoever to go and communicate out to your local people. So here's the difference. And this is what I see all the time. It's about the action that you take in life. People that sit around, they don't take action. They don't take ferocious, fierce action. Charging hard is where they fail. So clean up your message, identify what makes you unique, but don't hang on that. Just start pounding the streets as hard as you possibly can. So I take some fairly new agents. I actually have one of my life brothers that I went through basic training with. He's actually getting ready to go ahead and get his license. He just went through all of his school, and I think he's testing at the end of the month. But I'm going to vlog this. Brand new real estate agent, and obviously has a leg up because he's hanging out with his boys at KlevrLeads. But literally, I'm going to download every single confirmed homeowner in his zip code, not on the DNC list, that has a cell phone number. I'm going to stuff it in his Clever account. We're going to create some messages. We're going to click the button and start saying hello.
Yep.
So when anybody signs on with KlevrLeads right now and gets an enterprise plan, I give them 2,500 confirmed homeowners in their local area. All cell phones, not on the DNC.
Yep.
And then we start reaching out and going to work.
Yep. Love it, man. So then circling back to geofencing.
Yeah.
So let's just say I upload X amount of homes that are in a specific neighborhood or subdivision that I want to, geographical form and hit hard. And right now with low inventory and record high prices everywhere, that message may be something like, homes are selling at record prices in record time,
No.
So interest rates are all-time low. So whether you're looking to sell or refi, like whatever the message may be to get them to opt in or watch a video to get them to become a CMA lead or whatever. And I know that messaging may be way off. I'm just utilize that as an example. But then, what I'm curious about, because I still can't, I'm not familiar enough about geofencing to know, with those, when you say that they might be getting, let's just say I say, hey, I want everybody to see this messaging three times every single day on their smart devices. Is that similar to like the kind of old ad roll where it would follow them around on the different websites they go to, or are they getting notification pops up on their smart devices, or like what are the different ways that it is showing up to them?
So various different banner advertisements on websites, side placements, on mobile, in app. I can even go ahead and hit connected TV. I can do live commercials through Roku and things like that when all of a sudden you guys are watching something on Roku, and it has like the advertisements and stuff like that. So this is the largest network, period. And we have the rights to go ahead and start working it into the real estate industry. So in order to maintain this, you have to spend a tremendous amount of thousands of dollars every single month over month. But I sat down with the VP and some of the folks over there at the network, and let them know that what we're bringing out in KlevrLeads, we together as a whole, all of our agents can go ahead and start communicating. What we do, if we're going to go ahead and deploy a geofencing campaign, all we require over at KlevrLeads is that you have a minimum of a $500 monthly budget.
Yeah.
So if you have a core account with us, which is based off of communication, then you can go ahead and choose $500. And the reason that we set that is because I want everybody to go ahead and be impactful, not unimpactful. So I'm wanting to work with all of the business folks in real estate, or the people who are licensed now and want to learn how to go ahead and do the real business in real estate. So, but no, to answer your question specifically, we can hit a lot of those different places. It is semi-like AdRoll, but your unique ID on all of your smart devices leaves a trail of frequented websites. And when we're talking about real-time buying, so here, let me give you an example. You might be searching for pizza delivery inside of your local area. And Pizza Hut corporate franchise then goes ahead and sets traps for all of their sub-franchises all over. And if all of a sudden they have this thing set inside their zip code looking for that unique ID gets pinged, because almost real time, and you can almost in real time buy. The network is smart enough to where it's real time buying and putting advertisements in front of those people where they're at, almost in the moments. So if you're hanging out on different websites or in-app or various different places, it'll do its best through AI and machine learning to go ahead and identify where you're at that moment, to go ahead and say, hey, don't go buy Papa John's pizza tonight, because Pizza Hut's got a buy one, get one free over here.
Yeah.
So, and that's the power of what we do when we talk about competition. And I mean, no disrespect to the people who are not thinking about joining us at KlevrLeads. However, business on every level has been done like this. The guy that runs the bait and tackle shop on that side of town is competing with the guy that's running the bait and tackle shop on this side of town. So you can see where I'm going with examples, right? Everybody that's got a similar business in a certain area is competing with one another, trying to go ahead and get prospective customers to go ahead and be more loyal to them versus the other side of the house. And they're always creating messages, they're always creating promotions, coupons, discounts, incentives. So a lot of times real estate agents have been hanging out with different brokerages, and the brokerages have really worked hard to go ahead and have brand recognition, so that somebody might be more loyal to Keller Williams versus eXp Realty or Coldwell or Century 21, right? And maybe they've got a core physical location that's in a highly trafficked area. Maybe the brokerage spends time to go ahead and actually get information out. Maybe some of their old school marketing ground game has been good. However, we're going to analyze every single competitor of every Clever agent, and then we're going to do everything in our power to go ahead and enhance our unique selling propositions for our Clever agents, analyze our competitors, set traps, and come over the top.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. And it's so important today. I mean, there's so many different mediums to get your message out, but the difficult part of the world that we live in now today is it is such a noisy world, and people are just kind of becoming, because they're sold. I mean, what I heard the other day, that the average consumer is sold 3,000 plus times commercially every day. So, we must be much more intelligent, strategic, and intentional with our marketing plans than ever before. The cool thing is, though, the technology exists. And at the end of the day, man, like I used to do radio and TV and spend like 60 G's a month on radio. Yep. Right now today, and that's hitting such a broad audience. Now today we can get so targeted, be so much more smart and intentional.
Yeah.
And a hell of a lot less of a budget. It still takes a budget, but a hell of a lot less of a budget can go a much further way, if you know what you're doing. The hard part that I see is so many agents just start throwing money at Facebook, whatever, but they have no idea what the hell they're doing and just pissing away money.
Yeah, we're very strategic. We're extremely strategic in where we go ahead and put our marketing dollars, and our processes are very thought out. So one of the things from my desk, right, from my executive desk coming into KlevrLeads was, look, I know real estate agents, and I've talked to a tremendous amount of them, have had good or bad experiences with different marketing vehicles that are out there. Sometimes they don't fully understand what was going on, but it's my job to go ahead and educate every single person inside my community so that they fully understand why we're doing what we're doing, why this is thought out, why it's going to work. So perfect example, I have a really good beta agent that I'm working with. He's out of the North Carolina area. He's already sold over 40 homes this year. His ground game is awesome, lovable guy. You know, he's the kind of dude that you would just want to hug, you know what I mean, the minute that you go ahead and start talking to him. So he already has a good brand awareness and presence. But we went ahead and set up a farm for him to where literally in this farm, he's got like 2,800 folks. I mean, he's dropping $3,500 a month over month over month over month. But he knows that it's self-liquidating, and he knows that if nobody converts directly through his landing page that he forced traffic to, he knows the retargeting game is strong. So how many times does that person need to see us? And there's also a human element that comes into this, right? We can go ahead and gain influence with people, but they might not be in a position to go and sell their home or buy a home right now. That might be 8 months from now or next year. But the most important thing is to capture our audience. And then that's why we really work hard to educate all of our homeowners and potential buyers in our local area. Once we've captured traffic, now we can create messages so that you guys can be brand ambassadors of yourself. You can be educators to your community. And I'm talking 4 times a month, shoot a video, write something down. And that's another thing that I do. A lot of times I'll go ahead and sit down on the weekend, I'll burn some time, and I'll go ahead and build out a script to all my Clever agents. And I'll say, guys, here's a Jake Wolf script. Read this thing. Read this. You know, just digest it, make it your own, make some modifications, and then do a read and record and post that for your video. Let's send it out to your folks. You know what I mean? Some like national news stuff, anything hyper local, they're going to have to take care of. But when we're talking about interest rates dropping, coronavirus affecting marketplaces, so that's what we do. Our intention is to go ahead and have control of who we deliver our messages to, knowing that there's a human element in this and that we are going to fill up a pipeline that's going to be extremely robust. And that's the power of having somebody like myself and my business partner, Joe, who are very affluent businessmen that have got experience in the marketing industry, passing along these knowledge bombs, creating videos or creating vehicles in order to go ahead and positively affect your marketplace. So what we've seen in the industry is, you know, and no disrespect to the real estate agents out there, but I was just talking to a local real estate school here just the other day. And I didn't know at the time that you didn't even need a high school diploma in order to go ahead and come in and get your real estate license. And that's here in Nevada. I don't know if that's across the US or not. But then, you know, as far as like people coming into the industry young, trying to learn and grow, and I love it. If people decide to go and get into this industry and that's their life journey, I see it as, you know, the turnover as far as 80+% of people falling out to me. And Greg said this the other day, and I talked to my tribe, is that's kind of a pandemic. So where is it? It's a lack of leadership and business guidance and your ability to actually go ahead and put together fundamental business moves and start getting out there. So we're gonna make sure that changes over here at KlevrLeads. I'm gonna do whatever I can to positively impact the real estate marketplace and utilize my years of experience. And so another thing with me, guys, is that all the rest of these other companies out there that have ever said you need to sign up with us for a 6-month commitment, there's no commitment here at KlevrLeads at all whatsoever. It's all month to month. You choose your communication package. You work with us. You have access to my private group. You get me and the team, and I'm bringing brand ambassadors, business leaders, educators, and we're giving you play-by-play book stuff. So I'm on the battlefield with all my Clever agents, and that's important to me. So if for whatever reason KlevrLeads is not a good fit for your business, we can shake hands and say I do. And so that's what I've built, and that's why I've seen a hole in the industry, and that's where KlevrLeads is coming in to play with it. So if that means I'm working with 1,000 of you real estate agents out there, that's fine. We're going to go ahead and work together, and we're going to be extremely robust together.
Yeah, love it, dude. And those watching and listening will have, if you just scroll below, we'll have a link right where you can go check out KlevrLeads. You can learn more about it. All of that right below. And as I mentioned before, I mean, how our introduction or connection got started is through a good friend of mine, Greg McDaniel, that has been one has been one of you guys' beta clients and having massive success with the system. So couple last questions for you. I know we're going long on time here. And this is kind of transitioning or pivoting, I guess, the topics, but before you started this journey, because I'm always curious with successful people, like what keeps them driven? Because we've all heard the saying that good enough is the worst of greatness, good's the worst enemy to greatness, and so forth. And like, look, you didn't have to go down this journey. Like you've done very well in the business world in your last business ventures. And, but man, you're somebody you mentioned, it's not just a saying of getting shit done. Like you live it and breathe it every single day. Like what keeps you driving even when you don't need to keep the hustle going, man?
It's my faith. It's my absolute faith and my love of country. I'm a man of service, and I went through a tough time with all of us in the United States of America. When all of a sudden those towers fell, I was active duty military. It really sunk in. It was not just a young man's journey. It was we together as Americans are going through something right now. And I stood on the leading edge and did the best damn thing that I could possibly do. And I just charged hard forward. I knew that the whole world in that moment was upset, especially my American family and friends and all of the folks that I don't know. But I stood tall, and I stood with a lot of tremendous men and women. We were driven, we were passionate, and failure was not an option, not an option. So I look back now, and the moment of raising your right hand and giving your possible life in defense of your country and all of your countrymen and women, it really sinks in hard. And so I wake up every day knowing who I am from a core foundational standpoint. Additionally, I've had some friends that went in and passed in service, and I've had some family and friends that have passed since then. And just knowing that our life is not infinite, that I don't know if tomorrow is going to be my last day. And my faith in the Lord, and I always put the Lord forward, I give every day to God. And I know that I'm living in his world. And I give every day, and I give my all to every single person that comes around me. So that's a little bit about who I am, but I'm not going to stop charging hard forward. I'm not going to live in fear at all whatsoever. I don't want anybody out there to live in fear. Don't be in fear of rejection. A lot of people depend on you. There's a warrior inside of each and every single one of us. Unlock it. Unlock it. We weren't born to be inadequate at all whatsoever. We were born to go ahead and be the best us that we can be and serve other people that are around us. So if you put yourself in a mindset of service, you respect the hell out of yourself, and you understand that today and could be my last, why not make it the best damn day, period? It's one of the reasons that I'm having a conversation like this with you, and for all of the folks that are going to go ahead and see it. It's serious, right? So guys, if you have an opportunity to go ahead and see this video and sit here and listen, please take it to heart. Be the best you that you can be. If we don't ever even work together in the future, just look inward. Don't live in fear. Stand tall for what you believe in. If you're in the real estate game, go grind, charge hard, get out there, educate yourself. So anyways, I don't generally preach outside of the dinner table and in the wolf den with my children, but since we're on the GSD podcast and everything else, but thank you for giving me this opportunity to come and visit with you today. Generally, I don't do this. Generally, I'm the guy working behind the scenes, really executing business for a lot of players. And it's nice to go ahead and get out and share a message like this from time to time.
Yeah, no, it's been an honor, man. It's been awesome having you on, and I can't wait to watch. And I'm excited to be able to watch your guys' journey and watch you, succeed and blow this thing up, man. So truly appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to be here. Those watching and listening, as always, truly appreciate all your support. Truly appreciate you being here, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Have a blessed and unstoppable day, everybody.
Hope you enjoyed this GSD Mode podcast episode. Now make sure you get shit done and smash that subscribe button now.